good morning or good afternoon, depending where you are in the world. My name's Hilary Fine. I'm a senior publisher here at GL Education, and I'm going to talk a bit about our new project, which is to develop a value-added measure for schools. And this is a new service which will benefit users of GL Education's assessments in their efforts towards school improvement. We're working with an organization called the Fischer Family Trust, or FFT, who are very skilled in developing value-added measures for schools. And the value-added measure itself is considered to be a far fairer measure of the contribution a school makes to students' learning while they're at that school, which is one of the reasons why we are trying to develop the measure moving forward. So in order to develop this value-added analysis, which I'll talk about a bit more about as we go through these slides, we're conducting a pilot during the course of 2018, and there are a number of schools who have already supplied us with the information we need in order to develop accounts and their value-added measures. One and two of the pieces of information that we require from schools are their GL Education CAT4 test results and their IGCSE results for the same group of students after they've sat their GCSEs. We will, in 2019 and 2020, be extending the value-added analysis to include A-level and an international baccalaureate, as well as other qualifications in the future. I'm going to talk a little bit about what value-added measures actually are and how they can help a school with its self-evaluation. So value-added measures, they analyze the results for each student compared to other students with a similar starting point. So, for example, there's CAT4 scores. And these measures are used to quantify how much impact the school has had on the students' learning. So how far the students traveled. They're considered a far fairer and more accurate measure of student performance and the effectiveness of a school when they're used together with other measures. And the other measure that's quite common that I think some of you will be familiar with is attainment. So just looking at what sort of results the school gets at IGCSE. Now that's fine, but what it doesn't take into account is where the students were at when they entered the school, which a value-added measure will take into account. So here we can see a CAT4 mean score in grade 9, and what that score suggests the IGCSE result should be in grade 11. So the estimated result is the grey dotted line. You can see estimated result based on that CAT4 mean score. Now, if their actual result is higher than the estimated result, we could say the school has had a positive value add, or the student has a positive value added score. If the actual result is lower than the estimate, then there will be a negative value added score. Example of one student. So student A gets a CAT4 mean score of 95, and their estimated result is a grade or a fine point score of 4.8. Their actual result at IGCSE is a B, or a fine point score of 6. So the value added score for that particular student is positive 1.2. So what that could mean for the school is that the school has increased that student's result by 1.2. They've done 1.2 better than we thought they would do or anticipated they would do from their starting point. So there will be a number of value-added dashboard reports available once schools who are involved in our pilot or who signed up to the service later on will have access to, which I will go through briefly. So the first school summary dashboard is the one on attainment, which you'll all be familiar with. So it will show you how many pupils attained certain grades in their IGCSEs in different years. So we've got 2015, 2016, and 2017, the number of pupils in the school, how many of them attained a C or above in English and mathematics, how many of them attained an A or A star, and various other results in other subjects. So straightforward attainment dashboard. And then we can compare that to a benchmark. So we can look at the school, which is the blue line, and we can look at the benchmark, which will probably be an average of all the schools that we have information for. So this school, year on year is doing much better than the average, but in 2017 has done significantly better than the average. The other dashboard that we'll have is not just the attainment, but the value added. So this will show how the school has actually added value. And you can see there that the numbers are negative or positive for English value add in 2015. We've got negative 0.28, but by 2017 it's positive 0.49. So, and then we've got the overall value add at the green dots at the top, and you'll be able to see the school's value add again in the blue at the graph in the bottom right, compared to the average, which is in the green, the benchmark average. You'll be able to filter the reports by various categories, and these categories will increase within the service depending on how many schools actually subscribe to the service. So the more schools we have subscribing to the service, the more data analysis you'll be able to do. So this example is an example of if we filtered the reports by girls with a certain average CAT4 score, we could look at their attainment, which is the top graph in the dashboard, and we could look at their value add by subject, which is the bottom half of the dashboard. And that would just be for certain girls. Equally, we could decide that we wanted to look at a particular nationality, such as Emirati, and a gender, such as boys. And again, we show attainment, the school's attainment for that group, and the benchmark, the school in blue in the top right-hand graph, and the benchmark in gray in the top right-hand graph for attainment. Or we could look at the value add. Again, the school in blue and the benchmark in gray in the bottom right graph, the value added average grade. You'll also be able to look at student group dashboards for, and again, we could look at different categories of student groups. So you might want to look at nationality, English first language, English additional language, special educational needs. So again, you could filter the value add by the categories in these dashboards. There'll be dashboards available for each subject. And again, that attainment dashboard at the top and the value added dashboard at the bottom of the two graphs, and the detail on the left. This is an example of a dashboard for mathematics. And you can see at the top right-hand graph, you've got the average percentage of pupils attaining C or above in mathematics for years 2015, 16, and 17. And then you've got the value add for mathematics in 2015, 16, and 17. You'll also be able to look at your individual students. This would only be available for you and your school students. So this is a dashboard which you'd access just for your school. And you could look at what their score was on CAT, which is their overall score, their attainment, their percentage of grades in particular categories, their math scores or English scores, their overall value add, their English value add, and their maths value add. And you'll be able to sort and filter this table again by various categories such as gender or nationality, whatever information that is available on those students. And you'd be able to export this as a spreadsheet should you want it for other purposes. We represent this analysis as a scatter graph, and you can analyze the variation in results and value added scores, identify outliers which may have impacted your performance, and the overall performance in all subjects. So in this graph, we've got the attainment in orange and the value added in blue. To monitor performance across groups of schools, so a group of schools may decide that they want to see how other schools in their group are doing, and there you can see on the right-hand side, you can see the value-added measures for a range of schools within a group, as well as on the left-hand side, the summary performance. So there's the average CAT score per school, how they did in terms of the percentage of pupils getting C or above in English and mathematics, percentage getting C or above in their top, the percentage getting A and A star, percentage, the overall GCSE grade, average grade for mathematics, average grade for English, and the value add overall and for English and for mathematics. What becomes an interesting conversation is looking at the average score versus the value add. So how can these measures support your school in terms of helping your school improve its performance overall and helping your school better serve its students? So these dashboards will help you in looking at the strengths and areas for investigation you may have within your school. Have you got a stronger value add in English? Why might that be? Have you got a stronger value add in mathematics? Why might that be? Or the schools in your group, if you're looking at it at a group level, all really good at adding value in science, but less effective at adding value in English? What might you do to change that? What sorts of strategies might you employ? So it gives you robust and independent evidence to support those school improvement plans and to raise those questions about what areas need to be investigated and what areas of strengths. Equally, you may want to share those areas of strengths with other schools or with really celebrate what your teachers do well. So it allows school leaders to evaluate and benchmark school performances using a range of measures. So we're giving you the attainment measures, which you probably have already based on your results, but we're giving them alongside your value-added measures so you can look at and interrogate both. So subject leaders and teachers can also evaluate the performance of in their subjects and their classes. So they can compare one class to another or one subject to another and have a think about why certain things might be different for different subjects or different classes, or the same. They can also analyze performance over different groups of students within your school, and schools can use the value-added measure to support their external accreditation. So this could be evidence used when your school is being evaluated. So that there are some next steps in our project, which has been running since December 2017 and through most of this year. So we have about 32 schools who've registered with us to be part of the pilot, and they've supplied their CAT4 data and their IGCSE data from last year's 2017 summer exam series. And those schools will shortly be given logins, and they will be able to see their attainment and value-added dashboards. As part of the pilot, we'll be running a feedback workshop in Dubai for pilot schools on the 18th of June, and we'll be running a feedback webinar with pilot schools who aren't in that region on the 27th of June, because they're spread out all over. So we'll get you together on the 27th of June and allow you to log into your accounts and be able to look at your data and to answer some questions about that data on attainment and value added. There'll be an opportunity also to upload in September to upload your summer 2018 examination results to our portal, and that will give you value add for this year, for the 2018 exam series. And that will be available pretty much within 2 days of you uploading your data. So it's a 48-hour turnaround. And I just urge any schools who are interested in becoming part of the pilots to get in touch to make sure that they send us their data so that we can create an account and log you in and tell you the sorts of analysis you can be starting to do and to show how your school adds values to the students in it.